Would it just be flat until you got to the depolarization of
Yeah, it would be flat right here until the QRS complex, because this is where your AV node would start. Your AV node tells depolarization of the ventricles.
So
Make a little bit of sense? Yes?
That's why whenever you like completely die, it's
Flat line. Y'all may have heard of asystole before. If you don't, that's fine. It's just somebody yesterday brought it up. A means without, right? Like aerobic, anaerobic. Okay. A means without. Systole is contraction. That's actually our next topic. So that means that you don't have any contraction, which is flat line. Okay, can I erase the whole board now? Because we're going to start on our cardiac cycle. We do a lot today. I am very aware of that. But this is my favorite chapter, so I'll just come on back.
Okay.
Next semester.
Okay.
Mixing you up? What are you mixed up for? Come back next week. You won't be mixed up, and we'll talk all about this again. Okay? Plus, you'll have a quiz online over your heart. You'll kind of emphasize, more stuff too, okay? Yeah, it's not on there yet, but it'll be there this weekend, so for you to kind of go over. Okay, cardiac cycle.
I'll try.
Okay, have a couple of definitions before we start the cardiac cycle. Systole and diastole.
Oh, yeah. Those are on the blood pressure thing, ain't it?
Yes, they are. What does systole mean? Means contract. Diastole means dilate. And I usually say relax. And the reason I say that is, remember your blood vessels? Whenever you have constriction of the blood vessel, the muscle gets smaller, so you have constriction, and then it's going to relax and it dilates. Does everybody remember that? Okay, it's the same thing with your heart. Whenever your heart muscle contracts, it's in systole. Whenever your heart muscle relaxes, it dilates, opens up, receives blood, but it is relaxing. Okay, so let's look at a couple of things. Whenever you say your heart is in systole, that's actually talking about, I'm sorry, that's what it is. This means that your ventricles are contracting. What I'm trying to say is, whenever you just say systole or diastole, it's an understood, this is what your ventricles are doing. Whenever you want to talk about your atria relaxing, you actually have to say atrial diastole or your atrial systole. Got the idea?
But if you just say it's systole or...
If you just say systole or diastole, that means your ventricles. Your ventricles are so much more important than your atria that if you're talking about systole, it's your ventricles are contracting. If you actually are talking about like this right here, we would say atrial systole, systole, atrial systole, systole, if you want to use it as that example. So what does that tell you about asystole, that word a while ago? It means your ventricles are not contracting. Okay, we want to look at the events of systole, and then we'll look at the events of diastole over there. In systole, what do I just get through saying systole? Ventricles. We're talking about your ventricles. So remember that we said atria contract, ventricles contract, pause. What we're starting with is ventricles contract. We're going to end with atria contract. Okay? Yes or no? So we have ventricles contract, pause, atria contract. And you'll see that as we write it up here on the board. This does not go near as fast as your heartbeat does. We're going to slow it down and say your ventricles begin their contraction and they increase the pressure. Okay? So here we go, systole. Ventricles begin contracting. Ventricles ventricles begin contracting, what does that do to the pressure in your ventricles? It increases the pressure in the ventricles. That is going to allow the blood to flow towards the atria. Is that backflow? Yeah, it is. So what's going to happen to your AV valves?
Close.
AV valves close. Okay. Your